To the United Stand. It's Manchester United versus Southampton preview, but of course, as always on the United Stand, it's a lot more than that. I am joined by a guest tonight. You should recognise him from the fan cams. Adam, how are you doing, pal?
All right, mate. Thank you.
Good. I want to get straight into it because it's the thing that's on everybody's lips, I feel, at the moment, is about the situation with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. ESPN are reporting that the deal's pretty much done. There's nobody else in the equation for him. Where do you stand on that with Ole at the moment? I mean, I'll let you have your say, really.
Yeah, well, if you've seen some of the fan cams I've had, I think it's been going on probably from about Ole's fifth game in now. I've been calling for him to actually nail down Solskjaer because literally straight away, as soon as Solskjaer came in, you could see the difference. And I've been going on about it for weeks now, saying the mentality of the players, even the fringe players, the ones who were dreading was actually going to come in and play for us when Mourinho was in charge. You can see it, like in the game last night, that's just the mentality that he's brought to the club. The staff, the fans, everyone, the whole atmosphere around the place has changed. And people were thinking he was just going to bring some joy back. Me at first, when he first came in, I thought, well, till the end of the season, he's just going to bring some joy back. We're going to have some football to watch, and it's not going to be dull and boring like it was before, but he's actually quite astute. He's proven himself tactically really well, to be honest. There's some games where we've thought, right, something needs to be a little bit different here. It needs to be a change. And every time he steps up to the plate, and he hasn't looked out of place in the press conferences, on the bench, making decisions. You can tell by the way the players are talking in interviews. Everything around Man United now is completely different. It's all set up perfectly for Ole now to take charge, have a contract in front of him, and then start making plans. I'm actually hoping that he's actually making plans now for his summer signings. We're hearing different rumours about. I think it was broke today about transfer targets on TalkSport. But if that's the case, then I think ESPN are probably not far from the mark, really, with them actually saying that Ole's actually got a contract in front of him, just waiting for the announcement. It can't be far away. But I'm completely all in on it, mate. I've been loving it from day go.
I think it's really interesting because the way things have changed for a lot of fans. But, I mean, there was something today. I mean, there's so many stats, I get lost in it. I think he's broken the record for 8 away wins in a row. And, I'm not massive on stats, but I think the one that's really most interesting to me is, and I don't want to sound like a Liverpool fan here because they were doing this last year, if you take it from January to December, we're top of the league and we've won it. Well, it's not. The league's from August to May. But if you take the 11 Premier League games that Ole's been in charge, we've got 29 points from 33. Liverpool are second with 24 points, and City have got 24 points, and Arsenal would be fourth with 22nd. So, Ole, I mean, look, I don't want to say, we should be top of the league or anything like that. What I would say is that, well, if Ole can do that with this mess that he took over, imagine what he can do next season with a full season. But I think he needs money. I think that's the thing, and that's the only thing I'm worried a little bit about. Will United see Ole as a cheap option, and that's why they go with him? Because I think if we want to catch Man City and Liverpool, I don't think we could do it with this set of players, despite the great run we've been on.
Yeah, no, I agree. The improvement needs to come in, and I can see what you're saying. Is Ole Solskjaer the new Ferguson? Is he going to be the Glazers' wonder boy who doesn't spend any money and somehow manages to keep him in the top four and look like we're actually challenging for things? It'd be interesting to see how well he does in a full season. I mean, I've said it before. If Ole was in charge from the start of the season, where would we be now? What would we be challenging for? I mean, I'm pretty confident we'd be tucked in within an easy 5 points of the top two on this form. Like you said, it's over a space of nearly 2.5 months now he's been in charge. It's not been a few games. It's 11 games, and in them 11 games in the league, you could even add the 3 FA Cup games to that. So let's say 14 domestic games. Europe is way too far for us at the moment. That was proved against PSG. But domestically, he's got, 14, is it? Yeah, 14, I think, including the FA Cup domestically. And he was won all 3 of them. So all 3 FA Cup games, then, like we say, he's won 9 of the 11.
Well, the thing is, Burnley and Liverpool, really, I think we'd have beat Liverpool with our best team, and Burnley was 2 drop points, wasn't it?
It was. We had I think they had 2 shots on goal. They both went in. It was a freak night. I remember it. Well. I remember telling Flex outside. It was just like, if we'd had a decent start to the season, this game would have been just passed off as one of them freak games. That's all. And everyone was making a big deal out of it. Like Ollie, this was a sign that Ollie wasn't set for United, and all that garbage started coming out. But like I said, in them games, we've been to Spurs, we've been to Chelsea, we've been to Arsenal, we've played Liverpool at home, and we've pretty much held our own and more. So what more do you need? What more does he need to do to actually get this job nailed down?
Well, I said this morning, if he doesn't get the job, we riot. And I think Gary Neville said it probably prematurely about 3 weeks ago. But imagine if they didn't give him the job. I mean, somebody said to me, well, what if we went on a big losing streak now? And I said, to be honest with you, I've probably seen enough anyway. I mean, even if we don't get top 4 now, I've probably seen enough, because we're not going to go on a massive losing streak. We might not get top 4 because it's still a tough task, but I have seen enough now. So, I mean, I suppose we all want him. You want him, Adam. I want him. A lot of people do. Is there any part of you that thinks that the club might not give it him? Because there would be absolute uproar, wouldn't there, if they brought Conte in now or something like stupid like that?
I mean, Ed Woodward, none of us really like Ed Woodward for the way he's been, but I think even he must have some sort of brain cell that's going to be working inside his head that actually says, look, this is a fit for United. For the past 5 years, we've been bringing people in who've tried to change the way United are. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich don't do this. When a manager comes in at them big clubs, nothing changes. The philosophy of football stays the same, which was our mistake in bringing Moyes in the first place, who set us back 6 years straight away because he just rips the heart and soul out of the club. And for me, Ollie's brought it back now. They've brought Phelan back with him, which was smart. And you've got Carrick there coming through as well. It's young, fresh ideas, but all with the mindset of the United way. And it is, for me, it is an absolute no-brainer. I will be at the front of that riot queue if we actually bring anyone else in now. Because for me, out there right now, there is no manager that's going to actually do what Ole Solskjaer has done, who's going to have the place buzzing like it is. And the players, just the stats of the players alone since Ole's been in is frightening. And would anyone else have been able to do that? I doubt it. I really do. Not at United. United is a special club, and it's run on its foundations and its philosophy, and it always has been from the first day it was formed. And they brought the right man in now who actually understands what the club is all about. And that was the mistake we made in the start with these other managers. They just weren't United managers who wanted to change everything in their way of playing football, and that's when they lost the fans, they lost the players, and the club was just in a complete mess. But it's there now. It's like you said, stats don't lie. It's simple. It is as simple as that. The only question is the spending of the money and what's going to happen in the summer when the football's not doing the talking. That's the only time that there's going to be a question over it if the relationship's right. But he's done everything else right so far. I can't see him making a mistake. I really can't, in terms of off the field as well as putting the team on it.
No, I'd agree with you. Let's talk about the game on Saturday, Southampton at home. The injury boost, I forgot to mention that at the start. Funnily enough, a lot of people are calling you Adam Matic. There's some quite good news around Matic, actually, because the Herrera, Mata and Lingard are all hamstring injuries, so they may not be back before the next international break, which is mid-March. But Matic is actually scheduled to be back for the Arsenal game, which I think is a lot sooner than I thought. So that would be a real boost with Matic. Martial could play on Saturday. It's all about whether Ole decides to risk him or not. I'll get your opinion on that in a minute, Adam. Darmian's back. And obviously Rashford is expected to be okay as well. So the Matic boost is quite good, because I think that Arsenal game could be massive on a week on Sunday. But Southampton on Saturday should be straightforward 3 points. Although I have said that I do feel that even under Ole, there's still a bit of a hangover from Mourinho days. I think if you look at United, we seem to still be a better team away from home. We need to go and absolutely dominate somebody. Southampton won midweek. I mean, we can't take it too simple. I think a lot of people will be feeling more relaxed after the Palace result, but we still have got a lot of injuries, and Southampton is potentially, I don't think we can lose the game, but we've got to be careful of another Burnley.
Yeah, I said exactly the same thing in my little preview video this morning about this game. It's like away from home. It just seems to be a dead cert at the moment. It's like a freedom of the way we play, and it's just our form at home actually isn't that great. We haven't won in the last 3 games at home at Old Trafford. I know there've been some tough fixtures with Liverpool and PSG, but we're due. We're due to muller someone. I've actually said, I put my neck on the line. I don't expect Southampton to pose us any problems at all. I think a minimum of 3-0 against Southampton at weekend. I just cannot see where they threaten us at all with the way our defence is at the moment. We've got too many players at the back who are on, what I've seen is the best they've played in the United shirt recently, the players at the back, especially Lindelof. He's my man, Lindelof. I've backed him. I even come out, I think it was Chelsea, after the Chelsea game and said he was the best centre-half in the league at the moment on form, and people were laughing at me. I said, well, stats don't lie. Since Ole's been in charge,
we've got the best. Isn't he? He is flawless, yeah. You're right.
He's got everything, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't risk Matic this weekend at all. I'd give myself a rest and put my feet up. I'll go sit in the box with you, Mark, and watch it if you want. And what's the name? I'd save him for the Arsenal game, because I was actually talking to Flex earlier on about the Arsenal game.
It's massive, isn't it?
He was a little concerned about Arsenal getting a bit of momentum and going forward, Mkhitaryan being back, Ozil starting to play again, albeit against garbage teams like he always does at home. He just turns up for the small teams, but knowing out there, the only thing that worries me about Arsenal is they're due a result against us, and you know what, it is one of them games, the Arsenal game. I think if they beat Tottenham at weekend, which I don't think they will, I think.
Well, that game's. I was going to ask you about that game, because that game's. That's because Chelsea beat Spurs. I mean, we're all like, we're fighting for fourth, but actually, Spurs are right in it now. As long as we beat Southampton on Saturday, the result between Arsenal and Spurs, you could spin it anyway. If Arsenal beat Spurs, we'll still be a point behind Arsenal, but we'll be 2 points off third. If Arsenal draw, we'll go above them into fourth, and obviously if Arsenal lose, we'll go above them by 2 points before that big game at Arsenal, where maybe a draw will be enough. But it's a great. I mean, that's the massive point of the Palace result, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, Arsenal. I'm hoping the Europa League's going to do them, because year on year it shows you that you can't go for top four and try and win the Europa League. We saw that, didn't we? Yeah,
and it's like you're saying there, the result, if Arsenal do beat Spurs, that puts us 2 points behind them. But Tottenham have still got to go to City and Liverpool yet this season. Spurs' season is spiralling out of control, and I wouldn't be surprised if Dortmund turned them over as well. And then it brings back to the old manager situation. I mean, I thought Poch was the man for United at first, but he seems to be losing the plot as well. Pressure is getting to the teams now. You've seen what's happened at Chelsea. It's starting to turn on Spurs a little bit, and Arsenal and United are sort of coming up the other way. And for me this is a massive weekend this weekend in the Premier League, because it literally is, I think, Arsenal's last big away game. Then they have us the week after, and that's them done against the top 6 teams. They're finished then. We've still got a few to go, but Tottenham are the ones who should be really worrying right now. I said, I think I tweeted out when they got beat by Burnley, from being title contenders to fighting for a top 4 spot within 2 hours. It literally is. It swings that much just from one result. And it's like we thought we had a half decent result against Liverpool, and now Chelsea have gone and beat Spurs, and obviously Arsenal are playing Spurs this weekend, and everyone is right on it. There's literally I think it's 6 points between Chelsea in 6th and Tottenham in 3rd. So the games are just going to be, there's going to be so much riding on all these games going in now. 10 games to go. And I've said it before, it's not just these big games which we've turned out against. We have to follow it up with the games against the Crystal Palaces and the Southampton. That's why we just need to go out on a Saturday and just put Southampton to bed early. This shouldn't even be a test for us. The nerves will obviously be there because it's getting to that time of the season now, but we do need to put this little, like you said, the Mourinho sort of hangover when these smaller games come around, especially at Old Trafford where it always seems to happen, and just go and muller Southampton and just get onto that Arsenal game. That is probably going to be the biggest game of the season now, the Arsenal away game, the way it's shaping up.
100%, and you know what? With the well, we'll talk about that maybe next week. But the Southampton game, if we draw that, we're all going to be gutted on Saturday night. We've got to win that. Jason Simpatansuki has said, "Hi Mark, been a fan of the United stand for 2 years now. Today's the first day I got YouTube Premium. Glad to make my first ever contribution. Ollie at the wheel. Thanks for that, pal." A few people just saying there with Martial, should we rest him for? I want to talk about Sanchez and Lukaku and get your opinions on that. But just very quickly on Martial. Probably is fit to play on Saturday. It's about whether he'll be risked. Somebody in the live comments did say, should we just keep him back for that PSG game? I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are. My thoughts on the PSG game is that I don't think we're going to come back. So part of me thinks, look, if you're going to play Martial, play him against Southampton because we've got Arsenal on the Sunday. I would bait Pogba's not playing, which is great, so that gives him a week off. I can't see us doing anything in Paris anyway, so I would keep anybody who's got an injury record away from the PSG game and focus on the Arsenal game. And that could be good for us, Adam, because as you said, I think Spurs will actually beat Dortmund. Arsenal and Chelsea should get through the Europa. So those three are all going to be playing Wednesday or Thursday weekend for the next few weeks, whereas we probably won't. So that could be advantageous for us as well.
Yeah, I was talking today about this PSG game, and everyone who we've actually spoke to about it is just like, it's a step too far. We're probably not going to win it anyway. But you're sort of thinking, United always go for it. No matter what, we can't really be saying we're going to throw this game away. But it's
probably just too big a task, isn't it? That's the thing. I think we'll have to have a go. But
yeah, with no Pogba, I think I said it outside after the home leg had finished. I said without Pogba, that he's probably a step too far because he is the outstanding world-class player we've got on that outfield, and it's literally the only one who could probably step up to the mark and change a game like that of that magnitude. So I am sort of writing that game off. I don't think we can come back. We'll probably make a good show of ourselves, but I think most minds are obviously going to be on the domestic situation now for United. And like you said, with the other lot actually still in the European competitions, it can play into our hands. As for Martial starting or having any, I would try and introduce him at some point because I think Martial sometimes just does need to find his feet, and then I wouldn't want him to be trying to find his feet out in Paris where anything could happen, or even against Arsenal. I want him to have actually got some game time under his belt. I'd maybe play him off the bench against Southampton if he is fit, give him some minutes, and then maybe give him a run, give him a start out and bring him off early against PSG, and then he should be fully fit then, ready for the Arsenal game, because that's where he's going to make it count for us. I think the Arsenal game, because that back line, excuse me, when we played them in the FA Cup, I've never seen a back line more terrified of two players coming on the pitch when Rashford and Martial came on. And if he's fully match fit and sharp, ready for that Arsenal game, that's where I'd want Martial playing, definitely.
Well, also, as well, I mean, I'd be the same. If I was Ollie, I'd be looking at that Arsenal game thinking, whatever happens, Pogba's going to be raring to go if he doesn't get injured against Southampton because he's got a week off. And I want Rashford and Martial raring to go as well. And if I get Matic back and if I can keep my back four, we go there. And I tell you what, if we beat Southampton at the weekend, can't see us losing that. If we then go to and get a result at Arsenal, I mean, that this unbeaten run and the run just continues and continues. I want to get you some thoughts on some of the play. I mean, the one I've got to start off with is Alexis Sanchez. And there were so many positives last night, I think, and I definitely want to get your thoughts on McTominay and Lukaku and how they stepped up to the plate. But what was your thoughts on Alexis Sanchez last night? Because a lot of people just not even really giving him stick, just saying, what is he? He's best paid player in the Premier League, and what does he bring? Subbed off again as well.
Yeah, you nailed it there, really. I mean, I looked at Sanchez last night and I seen him when he came off the pitch. It looked like he'd been playing rugby. It looked like he'd just been through the wars. And that's one thing you can't take away from Sanchez. He is tenacious. He does get stuck in. He puts himself in there. But it's like, this isn't the player that we bought from Arsenal. I'm expecting Sanchez to have bagged 15 goals now this season already. That's the Sanchez that I thought we would buy in. I thought he was going to be the one who was going to unlock a defence when we needed it. That key player up top when it was a tight game. He could do something from, but he doesn't even seem to be having a shot on goal. I can't remember him creating a chance or setting anyone up or actually going through on goal. He seemed to be doing it every week for Arsenal. I mean, I can't fault his effort, but to be honest, I'm expecting more. Like you said, I don't know what he is or where he's playing or what his actual role is in the team. He seems to be the only one, in fact, when he plays with Lukaku actually doesn't look too bad, funnily enough. It's a weird sort of setup because Sanchez never seems to work as well with Rashford and Martial. I mean, it proved his point. Probably his best game this season was when he started against Arsenal in the FA Cup with Lukaku next to him, with Lingard as the false nine. And obviously he was one of our better players in that game. But recently it's like he came on against Liverpool and he got us out of some tricky situations at the back, but I don't want to be seeing him at the back spraying balls around. We bought him to create and to score goals, and that is one thing he has not done, and that is the issue that I've got with Sanchez at the moment. I do like the guy, but he has to be doing more. We can't be waiting for this sort of play. I mean, some players come to United and they're overawed by the atmosphere and the whole aura around United. But we're talking about an established Premier League 20 to 30 goal a season player. There's no excuse. We shouldn't need a year to adapt. He should have been able to come straight into this United team and hit the ground running. And he just has not. He's not lived up to the reputation. He comes across as a bit of a loner and a bit like playing for himself at times. I don't know if other people see it like that. It just does seem like that. He seems to be a little isolated from the actual rest of the players. I know they obviously do the social media and the out off the pitch and all that sort of stuff, and it looks like everything is happy. But when it comes to actual fluidity on the pitch and working well with the rest of the team, it just never seems to click with Sanchez like it does when Martial or Rashford or Lingard are playing, because the Pogba, Lingard, Rashford and Martial setup is our best that we've got. It's the most dynamic going forward, and Sanchez just doesn't seem to be able to fit in it. Is it a case of another marquee signing that doesn't work at United? Because very few and far between when we make a big name signing, it actually works at United. I know Pogba's playing well now, but Pogba had the past of United. He actually knew what United were. When we go out and splash out or make a big marquee signing, there's not that many times it actually works well for us. We create world-class players. We make world-class players at United. We haven't got a good history of actually bringing in these big names and them actually working. It just, for some reason, Sanchez, fits in that role.
It's interesting about Sanchez because you say there. I mean, he's the best paid player in the year, best paid player in the league. I think he's into his 30s now, so we could never give him time. He had to hit the ground running, like you say. And I said this last night on the game. I said it was interesting how we've spoken on this channel a lot about when Sanchez... I think there's something in his contract about playing on the left, because I don't think it's his best position, but he always plays on the left. And last night, I was like, before the game, well, he's going to ruin Pogba's game because he always steps into Pogba's area. And then we saw Pogba playing off the right. And there was actually a stat here from @UnitedArena, which is @UTD Arena. Really good account on the stats if you want to follow it on Twitter. And they said that 30% of Manchester United's attack came down the right-hand side today. That was because Pogba was there. And he's so dominant on that whole team, shifted towards the right-hand side, simply due to him playing as a right centre midfielder instead of a left centre midfield. So United were using that right-hand side. But of course, as we know, when Sanchez went off, Pogba switched to the left side of the centre midfield again to work with Rashford, and that's where we got the third goal, because he came in from the left, interacted with Lukaku and put Young in. So Ollie's obviously even aware now that if I'm playing Sanchez, I can't put Pogba as the left centre midfielder because I've got to... and he switched him last night. I'd ask you just a quick question, Adam, because I think that really we've got this issue as well. And I don't know whether this is true, I'll just bring it in. But there's a rumour today that Manchester United will not give David De Gea the wage of Alexis Sanchez. And a lot of you in the live comments, this is out there today. It's ridiculous. It's a disgrace if it's true, but it may be just paper talk. We won't give David De Gea what Alexis Sanchez is earning. Now, whether that's true, Adam, or not, it's a bloody disgrace. 6 years he's been at this, virtually player of the season every year. And we've got this guy who's been here for a year, and the best thing he's done is play a bloody piano. He's got to go, really, hasn't he? For many reasons, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like I think it was Rance who tweeted out. It probably wasn't the only one, actually. If it came down to De Gea having to match the highest paid player at the club, and he wasn't going to give him what Sanchez was actually on, then sorry, Alexis, out you go. You're not going to come ahead of our best player over the last, like you said, 6 years. David De Gea is number one. He should have been the one whose contract was started first. It should have been priority. I understand Martial and the others, and hopefully Pogba will get nailed down soon as well, because he's going to be entering his 4th year next year. But for me, the De Gea news today, I seen it, I was it sent a shiver down my spine when I seen it. It was like, everything is going so well, but one little decision like that, one stupid mistake like that, can just upset so much within the squad, because everyone knows De Gea is a favourite with all the players. He's the mainstay, basically. He's the number one on the sheet. He's our most valuable player, alongside Pogba for me, and it should have been sorted. It should have been sorted before the extension was taken out on his contract. The option to extend his previous contract that we've actually taken out on him. It should have been sorted before then. This has been our best player, our player of the year for 4 years straight, and we're messing around, not agreeing to his wages. If anyone has earned to be the highest paid player at United, not someone who's just been brought in to make a statement by Ed Woodward and Alexis Sanchez, if anyone has earned the right to actually be on the highest wage at Manchester United, and hopefully the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, it's David De Gea. Get him what he wants signed, because he has basically earned more than what this contract is going to be for this club in his performances for United over the last 4 or 5 years. It's ridiculous how this has actually come about, and little stories like this breaking just gets the fans' backs up and just changes the atmosphere around the place. I'm like you, I'm like everyone else. I'm fuming with the news if this is true. It is a disgrace.
It's like I've heard you on your fan cam say it before. Gary Neville said it a few months ago. I've said it. Most of our community have said it. Mourinho was a massive problem, but everybody knows that it was not just Mourinho. There's a big problem beyond the manager, and I still think that there's a big question mark on that. And if Ole's done a miracle, the players are responding to that, but will he be given money in the summer? Is this true about De Gea's contract? I mean, these are major mistakes by Ed Woodward. 1, giving Mourinho a contract last January. 2, making Alexis Sanchez the best paid player in the league. And I remember doing a video at the time saying, this is going to cause problems. This is going to smash our wage budget, and he's going to be on 200 grand a week more than people like Paul Pogba. And when they renew, are they going to pay the same? And I tell you what, you can be happy at your work, but if I know somebody's getting nearly double what I'm getting and they're crap at their job, I am going to go to the boss and say, hold up a minute, I love being here, but I'm not an idiot. And I think that's the issue with David De Gea. So we're going to see over the next few months just, the problem with United. We've sorted a lot out, but are we still going to have to suffer these, let's be honest, ridiculous, like Adam says, issue where David De Gea still not signed the new contract, and we've got this problem with Alexis Sanchez that we do need to move on. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But just another one, Adam, as well. Valencia, I saw in somebody messaged me about this to say that we've got to make a decision on Valencia in the next 24 hours or he's free to go. Off your pop, as far as I'm concerned. But looking at what Woodward's been doing, Matt, he seems to like getting the Deadwood new contract. So it'd be interesting what he does with that.
Yeah, it's like a decision needs to be made about Tony Valencia. Yeah, see you later, Tony. That's the decision. You out, mate. Thank you for your service. You was brought in to replace Ronaldo by Ferguson. You did your best. And it was as simple as that. We shouldn't be clinging on to these players now. I'm still I'm still fuming from Phil Jones getting a contract at United, let alone Antonio Valencia. I mean, it is time to let these players go now. Valencia doesn't play any part anyway in this team anymore. He is not going to come in and do any better than what's actually playing now already.
Delay was brilliant last night, wasn't
it? It was. He changed his position, but again, Ole Solskjaer there, he's made a threat down the right-hand side, but at the same time playing Young and Darlow down the same side has actually nullified Zaha. It's another feather in Ole's cap to the tactical nous that he's actually got. And like you said, Darlow had a really good game last night. Going forward, he was superb, and the composure on the ball down the wing, and he even set up a sitter for Pogba, which should have put the game to bed early in the second half. And Tony Valencia, he is, we call him, at my place, where we call him the backwards man, because he seems to just hit that white line and then it's like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, and then it goes backward again. He is a typical Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho player. He is still in that mould. He is one player who won't be able to shake it. The younger players that Ole's got his hands on now, you can see are transforming. But it is clear the ones that have still got the Mourinho Van Gaal issue, and that is one of them. It is Tony Valencia. I'm not saying it in a horrible way, but there is no place for him at Manchester United now. If we're being serious and we want to get back to where we was, his time is run. I think even if Ferguson was here, Valencia would have gone now, and Ferguson obviously loved him. He always kept on to it, but there was times when Ferguson got rid of the players that were there for a long time. He would never let him down. It's like the summer he got rid of Wes Brown and John O'Shea in one go. He would have let him go as well. It's just for the chopping and changing of managers that we've been doing. I think Ole's just come into a mess of 4 managers worth of players in one squad, and he's performed miracles getting us to where we are in the league. The actual football on the pitch isn't an issue anymore. It's like you said, it's the frightening part about United, and the issue we have got mainly now is what happens off that pitch. And these rumours and stories coming out are the ones that are the only bad point about the place at the moment. It's the only thing that's actually sort of bad, really, in a weird way. Because the pitch and the football is brilliant, and we're all happy with the way we're playing and the results we're getting, but we're all scared to think about what's actually going on behind closed doors upstairs still, and that's the only worry I've got. I think pretty much everyone else is the same. You can just feel it.
Well, the worst case scenario is that we continue to do well, but Ed Woodward sat there with his bean counter going, oh, I can give Young a contract, Valencia a contract, he'll keep winning anyway, and we all know that's not the truth. I've got a few super chats to read through here. Sergey Mamedov says, Fred was quite good last night. I think that he deserved to be in a team. Maybe all his failures was because of the birth of his son, and now he's absolutely fully concerned on the game. Who knows? Blame it on the kids. It's always a good thing. Siddhartha Boss says, predict the summer signings Ole is realistically likely to make. I'll get Adam to answer that in a moment, what positions he thinks we need it. Marius Larson says, why not try Sanchez in the middle with some security behind him? He's really good with the ball and works hard. Also good passing range versus PSG. Charles B says, yesterday United the only top 6 team to win away. We were, a few of them were playing at home, to be fair. Mick C, look at Poch differently after the video with Liverpool guys. Every United game is pressure. Poch doesn't have that. Ole has proved himself. And there was something here. Cobros Aikins, who did this last night, he says, I know it won't be popular, but well done to Ed for getting Ole as interim manager. Many fans were furious, saying it's the cheap option. Get Zidane. Let's give him credit. Well, I would hold back on that credit for the moment. Let's see what's going to happen in the summer. And, obviously, if that De Gea story is true. Just quickly, before I get your thoughts on what we need to do in the summer, Adam, a few people in the live comments sticking up for Sanchez. This always happens. What I would say about Sanchez is, and I think Adam hit the nail on the head, in the last couple of games, I've quite liked it when he's come on for the last 20 minutes, because one thing he always does is he is tenacious. He does get involved, but effectively, I'll keep saying this, he's the best paid player in the Premier League. That means he's meant to be better than Salah and Hazard. And what we're getting is a very, very expensive Scott Parker playing on the left wing. Because when it comes to trying to tackle and stuff like that, yeah, he does. He is very tenacious, but he's not there to do that, really. He's there to do what Martial does. He's there to do what Pogba does. And he just simply doesn't do it. In the summer, Adam, what would you be looking at for United? What positions do you think?
Uh, Definitely, I think we need another central midfielder. I would go definitely a right winger. We've had an issue down the right wing. Whether one of the younger players could step forward, I'm not too sure, to be honest. But Sancho has been rumoured from Dortmund, which I think would suit the way Ole's going forward. He would be ideal for the right hand side. Sancho, young, obviously English, and he's got a good rapport already with the likes of Lingard and Rashford through playing for England. He just seems to be one of them who would just slot in. And obviously he's been playing well in Germany. Obviously there is a curse for all players that United buy from the Bundesliga. For some reason it just seems to fall on the face. But with Sancho being English, I think this might be the one that is a little bit different. Centre midfielder, who is, I think, a holding centre midfielder for replacing Matic, as it sounds. I don't want to take myself out of the team.
But you're getting on a bit now,
yeah, I can feel it. The joints are not the same, but I think Matic. We do need cover for Matic. I mean, can you imagine if we had a midfield three of Kante, Pogba, and Herrera? And that's frightening to me. I know Kante's a long shot, but he would.
Can step up to play at the highest level?
I think as a squad, as one of the actual squad players for the midfield, he could well be the new Ferguson's Darren Fletcher or Phil Neville easily, because he does do a job. I've seen him, I think I mentioned this the other day, my only worry about him playing against Palace was he's good when you give him a task. If you say, McTominay, you go, like Ferguson did with Fletcher and Neville. I've seen McTominay take Hazard out of the game before. I think it was at Old Trafford a couple of seasons ago, and he was superb. And when you put him to task, he does do a job. He pretty much, along with young nullified Zaha last night, is he going to be the one to actually step up to the mark? I mean, he's still got time on his side. I mean, one game last night against Palace away isn't enough for me. I still do think we need a quality centre midfielder. I mean, who is going to go there? We've already got plenty of them there, and they're all very similar. That's the problem. You've only got Pogba, who is a box-to-box, tenacious sort of creative midfielder. I mean, Fred's really not hit his straps at all this season. McTominay's in and out. I mean, I think Fred is actually probably down behind McTominay in the pecking order right now. So there is an argument that we could actually leave centre midfield and splash out in another position. I mean, I think both full-back positions need cover, and a centre-back, because I'm hoping that a couple of our centre-backs are sold in the summer because they're just a waste of time.
I think Eric Bay's definitely gone. I think he's our best centre-back with Lindelof, personally, but he's not being picked, is he? So I think he will be moving on.
I hope so. I mean, I was always praying that Phil Jones, and I know people like Rojo, but the only time he seems to be fit is when an international break's coming and he wants to get in that Argentina team. Rojo, we're not seeing him. A complete waste of time all season because he's not played, and it's this same thing every season. So for me, Rojo and Jones would be the ones that I would get rid of at centre half, and I would bring in another world class one. I wouldn't get rid of Bailly, Lindelof, and if I had to choose out of the Three Stooges, that being Smalling, Jones and Rojo, I would keep Smalling, because I do think he has improved where Jones has gone backwards with every season he's been at United. Smalling has shown signs of improvement. I think he reads the game better, and he's not as last ditch and as desperate of a style defender as Phil Jones is. Jones is a nightmare waiting to happen, and I think he will let Ole down, but I think Ole's actually switched on now. Jones looks like he is fourth choice in terms of centre halves, which is, well, if he wasn't going to go, that's where I would have him anyway. But I think at maybe right back, definitely, and left back, we do sort of need cover. We don't seem to be blessed with too much in depth there. I mean, Young can't go on forever. I know he's doing good now, but he can't go on forever. And obviously, Luke Shaw is having a decent season now, but then again, we still do need to actually have cover in that position. But in terms of priority, It's hard to say when you're playing well because everything seems great, but I do think we do need to finally sort out the right-hand side of midfield. That's a definite for me. But is one of the strikers going to go in the summer? Is Sanchez going to go? Will Lukaku go? We just don't know.
Well, I was going to ask you about Lukaku actually, because I said this last night. I think he scored 38 goals for United now, and they've all been from in the box, which proves what I and a lot of people say. If you give Lukaku chances in the box, he'll score them. If you give him the ball outside the box, it's going to go into Sainsbury's car park. He's no good in the build-up play, is he? And Ole obviously wants players who can do that. So if Rashford's fit, Martial's fit, and if we sign a right midfielder or we use Lingard, I think that's always going to be his first choice front three. Lukaku, last night, perfect game. He's a bit of a flat track bully. We needed him last night. He did the job. He scored 2 very good goals. But will Romelu Lukaku be happy to I'd be happy to keep him as long as he was happy to play in games like Palace when we need a rest at Rashford, or to come off the bench for the last 20 minutes. But in fairness to Lukaku, I don't think he will be happy to do that. I think he feels he probably should be starting, and I don't see, whatever my opinion or yours is, I don't think Ole will want him to start every game.
No, I think some people think I've actually got an agenda against Lukaku because I seem to be slagging him off in every fan cam. But I actually give him, my man of the match last night just because his goals won us the game. There was probably better outfield performances than him, but I give it him simply on importance. When we needed him, he actually stepped up and scored the goals. You're comparing. There is no striker in that sort of mould anymore. The actual day of the strong centre forward is dying. Lewandowski's in his last days of his career now. That striker just doesn't seem to be out there anymore. If you're going to compare him to that mould of striker, then the prime example for strong, tall strikers who score goals in the box would be like a Van Nistelrooy, and you can't even compare him to that calibre of player. He's literally, like you said, I've said it before, you might as well kick a ball against the wall. At least you know which way it's going to bounce back to you. Because with Lukaku, it could just go here, there and everywhere. And there were moments of that last night again where it's just like, what was that? It's like, for a United centre-forward, a Premier League centre-forward, to not be able to control the ball. I think someone made a clip, like a montage of all these mishaps this season. I know it's extreme, and obviously his worst bits and taking away what he has done, which sometimes is okay, but it's actually frightening sometimes watching him play, because when you sat there at Old Trafford and you watch what he does off the ball when the cameras are not there.
Have you ever watched him warming up, shooting at the goal? That's a good sight.
We sit behind, me and my son, Alfie, we sit behind the goal in the Stretford end, and it's like we do the warm-up. Yeah, the warm-up session is like, I want to catch the ball, Dad. I want the ball to come my way. I said, well, wait for either Matic or Lukaku to hit theirs, because they usually send them over the top. But then again, on Sunday, he actually hit a few into the top bins, Lukaku, in the warm-up, and I'm like, is this going to be the day? No, I was wrong again, because he wasn't that good against Liverpool, although he did create a couple of chances, I know that. But last night, we played off him a little bit last night, but again, your main point that you're making there, going forward, he isn't the Ole player. Rashford is our centre-forward now. He is our number one. Lukaku thinks a lot of himself and probably wouldn't want to sit on the bench. Like you said, Mark, it is literally, you either sit on the bench for United and take your chances, like when these games come around midweek when we need to rest the likes of Rashford, or you're out the door. And there's plenty of better than that, to be honest, don't you? Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll sit on the bench. He does think a lot of himself. He thinks he is better than what he is. You can see it on the pitch. He's pointing and moaning and telling people where to go, and you can just see the other players going forward are on the same wavelength, but he just doesn't seem to be there. The day of that type of striker, the Mourinho striker, like the Drogbas, the Van Nistelrooys, Lewandowski's, that day is gone. Them strikers don't exist anymore, especially not in the Premier League. You can see the false nines and the agile, the quick, fast centre forwards. That's the day now, and I think his days at the top football club. Would he fit in any of the other top 6 strike forces at the moment?
No, I was going to say that.
Maybe Chelsea, but I mean, Higuain there now, he's a very similar player again, but now he's into his 30s as well. I just don't think it works that way anymore. I mean, I think Ole's actually done well to get what he has out of him. I mean, he's put him on the right where he's had a little bit more space. And when he's actually running forward, Lukaku, he's not that bad, but with his back to goal, he just doesn't seem to be able to do what he should be.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And I'm not bashing Lukaku in any way. I think we've been having this conversation for a long, long time. And I agree. I said this last night that actually I gave him my man of the match because if we get top four, and I think it will be tight, it might be by 1 or 2 points. And I will say in May, remember that night against Palace when we had nobody and Lukaku got 2 goals. So he's had a massive part of our season. He is a 30-goal-a-season striker if you play him every week, but I don't think he's a top 4 striker because that's just not the way football goes, like Adam says. And I'm old enough to remember strikers such as Darren Bent, Gary Lineker, who basically made a good career out of living in the box. The penalty box, and that's where Lukaku would make his career. 38 goals, all of them from in the box. But football's not like that either anymore. I think if you want to be I think those sort of strikers, they hang around at Everton and Sunderland and people like that. They don't hang around in the top 4 anymore because football, you've got to be a baller up front. You've got to hold the ball up. You've got to be able to play other people in. You hold it up, people run past you, you play a pass, and it's not really Lukaku's game. It's not really his fault. But I agree with Adam as well. I think he does, like many strikers, have a very high opinion of himself. If Lukaku wants to stay next year, and I sort of hope he does in a way, and be the backup striker and the bench player, it solves a problem for us. But I think he will manoeuvre the move because he won't want that. And I think there's already talk that Mourinho might go to Inter, and maybe that's where Lukaku will end up. But Adam, Southampton on Saturday, give us your score prediction.
Southampton 3-0 to United.
I thought you were going to say 3-0 to Southampton then.
No.
For me, I'd take 1-0. I'd be happy. It's all about the 3 points on Saturday, but I think whenever we say, oh, let's nick a goal, it's not the way Ole goes, is it? I mean, even last night we were 2-0 up. They get a goal back. You know, Mourinho and many managers would sit back, and he went for that 3rd goal again, didn't he? And we've seen him do that. We did it against Arsenal in the Cup a few weeks ago. He'll go and close the game out with the attack. So I think we'll see some goals. I just hope we can. I'd be really disappointed if we drop points like we did against Burnley, because as I said, with Arsenal playing Spurs, whatever that result is, as long as we win, I think it's beneficial to us.
Yeah, exactly. That it's like I said, we said before, it's such an important weekend in the season. I know it's only Southampton at home, but it's not just about our game. It's we're putting points on the board at this stage of the season. It is literally all that matters right now. It's just a case of getting over the line now. It's squeaky bum times coming in now, last 10 games, isn't it? So it is literally, like you said, I'd take any sort of win. I just got a feeling that this weekend we are going to actually bag a few goals as well. I just think we have too many players in form for us to have one of them Mourinho, Van Gaal sort of days at Old Trafford. I do think there's a result coming for us at Old Trafford. I think it's this weekend.
A lot of people going 2-0, 3-0 in the live comments. To be honest with you, you're spot on with that. I've got a little bit of a clip from a Southampton fan channel to play tomorrow morning on the press conference reaction, which will be about 9 o'clock, I think. Ollie's doing his press conference, so we'll have injury updates and that. But one thing I know about Southampton is they cannot hit the ocean from a boat. So a clean sheet should. Famous last words. They don't score many goals. Anyway, Adam, thanks very much for coming on. If you don't know who Adam is, it's Matich's brother. No, it's not. He's on our fan cams a lot, and I'm sure you'll be on there on Saturday as well.
I will.
Real pleasure to have you on, mate. And
thanks
certainly do it again. And thanks to everybody in the live comments. We will be back tomorrow with tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We also got Ollie's press conference reaction tomorrow, so we'll tell you about the injury news and all that. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and if you've enjoyed Adam, you can see him on the fan cams. He's on not at all the away games, but most of the home games, aren't you?
Yeah, every home game, and hopefully more of the away games as well now.
Great. Well, thanks very much, pal. Thanks to everyone for watching. Have a good evening, and I'll speak to you all soon. That flew by, mate. Cheers for that.
No worries.